hang on 1 second. Okay. All right, we should be good. Can you guys hear me? Everything okay? Have the microphones on today. And today I'm here with a very special guest, Mr. Chaiyaphum Jim. Let's say hello to Chaiyaphum Jim.
The Farang Banok here.
Farang Banok. I used to live in the Banok. I used to live in Udon Thani for about a year. And it was Banok. I mean, I had to get a motorcycle in order to... Carnivore, how you doing? What's happening? Here's Mr. Jim. Here's Mr. Scott right here. So Jim has come down to look at my drone. It's now his drone. And I think you were in Pattaya.
I brought a friend down to Pattaya to do some immigration stuff.
But your wife is not with you.
No, she's actually... This is a good deal because she went off with her school chums. You know, all these 60-something-year-olds that she went to high school with. They're all seats at Kent looking at Watts or something like that.
At temples?
Yeah. So she went off with them to go have an excursion with like half dozen of them just doing what chicks do, you know.
Yeah. Which you don't want to be involved in that.
Oh, you're going to see Saket? I guess I'll run down to Pattaya then. That went over big.
I bet it did. My wife never likes it when I go to Pattaya, but like she knows now, you know, like I'm going with my friends, and she knows, like, first of all, I don't like tattoos, and second of all, I find some of the chicks in Pattaya to be quite skanky.
Yeah, the ones outside my window last night.
Well, that's the freelancers are almost all. You always have to. There's a reason why they're freelance on the street. That's why they're streetwalkers. That's because they can't work somewhere else. They don't want to work somewhere else. They got something wrong with them. Something's up. So it's, yeah, nobody needs to go with them. My suggestion is you don't go with girls walking the street. That's just stupid.
And I you don't go with any of them.
No.
I don't care for Pattaya. I will give it a plus mark in the food category.
Yeah, but Thailand, the food category is high in Thailand just about anywhere.
Yeah, but I live in friggin' Chaiyaphum where I can't get Farang food, and it was like a big day for me to go to Taco Bell.
That is the big negative about living in the village, is that there are a lot of foreign things are not going to be there.
Yeah.
You're going to have to go to the city. You're going to have to go take a trip somewhere. Hello there, Mr. Gallo. Gallo says good morning, Scott and Jim.
Gallo, how you doing, buddy? Mate.
So yeah, that's the thing. And I mean, like, even when I was in the other day, when I was in what was the name of it, Kanom and Sichon. Oh, they had Farang food, but you had to go to a restaurant, and everything was 300, 400, 800 baht. Yeah. For the meal, and I'm like, I'm not paying 800 baht for a meal here. I don't know if this is any good. I've never heard about this place. What am I going to piss away 1,000 baht?
I ran up an 800 baht.
I mean,
last
you know,
night.
that's 25 bucks, but I mean, like, it's 795 baht. It was 795 baht for like the giant shrimp, and then you pay for a drink, and that's, you know, I mean, like for a Coke or something, you're going to pay like 50 baht, 60 baht. For a water, you're going to pay like 40. You want something else like a smoothie. By the time you get out of there, it's 1,000 baht. So, you know, can you guys hear me all right? Can you guys hear what we're saying? It should be fairly good, the quality. But yeah, so that, I mean, instead, I just went from this little restaurant. They didn't have two of the things that I wanted, and I'm like, what am I here for if you don't have what I want? You know. Two things, and then I was like, I'm not going to try for a third. And so I just walked into the little street market, 180 baht. They gave me 9 giant shrimp, and I was like, this is fantastic. It's a little muffled. Okay, well, I'm very sorry that it's muffled. Yeah.
There's a lot of background noise here.
Yeah, there's some background noise here, but okay, so Jim.
Yes.
I know that you used to live in Las Vegas. What brought you to Thailand?
About 15 years ago, and I don't want to make this political, I foresaw what's happening today. And I started looking for...
And that's political.
Yeah, and I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
And I was looking for an alternative place in case I wanted to get away. And I narrowed down my options to Thailand, the Philippines, Belize, Costa Rica. I speak fluent Spanish, so Central America, South America would have been an option.
Right.
And I did a lot of research.
Uh-huh.
And my next door neighbor at the time was from Thailand. And and I have nothing but praise for her culture and everything like that. And I decided, you know what, I need to check that place out. And went online.
You were married?
No, I was not married at the time.
Okay.
I was in a relationship with someone, and they became a flake.
Okay.
And
so not your wife?
No, she was not my wife. She almost was.
Oh.
But I started, like I said, looking, and my research said you need to check out Thailand. It's kind of a libertarian ideal here, where you're kind of responsible for your own actions.
Right.
And that kind of pleased me. I went into these forums, met people who were living in Thailand, and just kind of, travel forums and stuff, and started talking to them about, so what's it like living there and stuff. And I met my wife in there. And it was a pen pal site. And for a year, we were just buds. We're talking about relationships.
I hate that. Hey, you're my buddy for a year.
Well, no,
I know it's nice, but I'm just saying, it's like
we didn't foresee it that way. It was just like,
right.
Hey, this is just happened to be a female that I get along with and I can talk to and stuff.
Right.
And watching Bourdain and Zimmerman on the Travel Channel, going through the Mekong and going through Isan, I was like, man, how can these guys do that shit? It's like, they're having a great time over there. Look at the food, look at the culture.
Yeah.
What's preventing me from doing that? And then I realized I got a passport. I have a friend in Chaiyaphum that I could give me some guidance here.
Right.
So I contacted her and said, listen, I'm planning a trip over there. Would it be okay to come and, hang for a weekend or something?
Oh, it was
like
a chick?
That? My wife.
Oh, she was in, okay, I understand now.
So
I thought she was in America.
No, she was over here. It's like I'm planning on coming there. And over a few months, we became closer. And it was like, well, what if I get there and things kind of click? What's going to happen then? We started discussing that. So I came over, and it was originally going to be come up there for a weekend, go, eat something or whatever. And then she says, hey, a group of us from work are booking a tour in Laos. Would you like me to put your name on the list? It's like, sure, I'll go see Laos. So we came over, we all traveled together.
Were we staying in the same room?
And
or?
we ended up staying in the same room.
That's my first question.
Yeah.
Are we going to stay in separate rooms?
And things worked out, and it was kind of like an advanced honeymoon. Came back down, and we've been talking to each other, keep in mind, a year, every day, doing video.
So now how did you get to Thailand, though, where you made it like a final...
We decided at that point we were going to have a relationship.
Okay.
And the question was, I obviously couldn't retire at that time. I wasn't old enough. And,
okay.
And so she decided she would come to America.
Okay.
So we did the marriage visa. By the way, when we get back from Laos, and to show you how assertive my wife is, we're driving it through downtown Chaiyaphum, stop the car, we get out, we're walking by all these shops, and we walk in a jewelry store. And like, what do you need to get here? She goes, an engagement ring. So it's
my God.
No, and because we had already discussed it.
Yeah. Oh, you did, okay.
Yeah, we already discussed, let's move forward. We'll get married at some point.
Now, how long was this? How long did it take?
Well, after a year online, I came over here, and it was probably a week later. And no, she wasn't a bar girl.
Oh God. But she knew what she wanted, man. She went and got it.
Well,
oh God.
we had we would have lengthy conversations every night.
No, I
9 o'clock.
understand. Yeah, yeah.
And she would, when she's going to lunch, she had the camera going on her desk at work.
Oh.
And she would turn it, and I would be interacting with everybody in her office.
Yeah.
So everybody in her office knew me, and which is a
Oh,
good
God.
thing because
One of these kind of relationships.
well, no, you get to know their friends. If you see a girl here, if you're talking to a girl, and you don't see any of her friends, any of her family, or something in
Well,
Thailand,
she doesn't want you around them then.
well, that's the thing. You're not
Yeah.
seeing what their background is like.
Uh-huh.
So I became friends with all her friends, and then my next door neighbor did a kind of a background check on her.
Does she
And-
know that?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
She-
Okay.
My next door neighbor, Yen, comes over and goes, Jim, this is a good one.
Oh, okay.
And Yen had seen the revolving door in my house,
Oh, okay.
and she's like, Jim, you need to find yourself a Thai lady.
Oh, God.
So
I just hear that and it scares me, honestly. And I mean, I've been married for 25 years, but when I hear you need to find yourself a Thai girl, you need to find yourself a Filipino girl, I always just go, oh my God, because I feel like you're just putting all your eggs in one basket.
well, she had seen a few Filipinos come through my house, and she said, well, those ones
Oh,
are
while
work."
while you were talking to her during the 1 year, she knew
Well, no,
about
she-
other
she-
girls.
We lived next to each other for like 8 years, and she was before I met Took.
Okay.
So she saw me go through several girlfriends coming in and out,
Oh.
and we were her and her husband were very tight with me,
Uh-huh.
and they spelled it out. It's like, Jim, that's the wrong one. Jim, that's the wrong one. It's like, yeah, I know. And,
Yeah.
So finally they said, no, this is the right one. And Yen would talk to her every night online also.
Oh, okay.
So they got to know each
Oh
other.
God. See, I don't know. I mean, like Mr. Two Quarters Korean says, I'm very lucky. And I say, no, I kind of set it up that way because every girl that I went out with before I got married, I just knew these girls are not going to work it's not going to work. They don't have that something that I want and that I need. And I just knew. And then when I met my wife, I just thought sticking with her is the right move. And she was a student. She didn't have a job. Well, she had a part-time job. She wasn't making any money. And I just went, you know what? I'll take a chance. And that's 25 years ago. And I didn't have a lot of people, vetting her, or none of that was popular. I mean, the what do you call it? When they would write the letters, they would write the letters online, and some girl in the village would like translate everything for I didn't have any of that stuff. It was face to face, which is why I don't understand the whole dating online and all that kind of stuff. But okay, so that's good that you got involved like that. So then, when did you say? How long did it take for you to get over here? How many years?
A year.
A year. And you were able
I
to
was
retire.
still dating somebody when I decided I'm going to go check this out at some point.
Okay, but that's all right.
And it was not going good. The woman I was dating had a gambling problem. Was severely in debt. She was living with me.
Well, then you got to get rid of her.
And then
she's got a gambling problem.
Yeah. So
Oh,
she eventually
God.
moved back out of the house, and about that time is when I started. And I spoke with several people over here.
Uh-huh.
Many of them were not the right ones, and turned out to be the right one.
Uh-huh.
And I was explaining, I'm in a relationship with this girl, or here's what's going on. She's gone. And she watched me go through that. Meanwhile, she had been going through a divorce.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of we were a support mechanism for each other.
Yeah. Okay.
But,
so after a year,
Yeah.
you moved over here with her. You moved back
Well,
here.
I came over here to do a face-to-face and stuff.
But I'm talking about after the year. No, she moved to America with you.
After I left, after I came to visit,
Right.
I went back.
Okay.
She stayed here. We had to go through the
Marriage visa
marriage
thing.
visa.
How long did that
9
take?
months.
And how long did she stay in America?
Then, she moved there.
Okay, so how long did she stay there?
8 to 10 years.
Oh, okay, so a long time.
Oh yeah, she lived it. She would come back here.
Wow.
for a
So
few- she's Americanized.
that's a lot, actually, when you think about it, because here you are, you met her online, you just talked to her online for a year, then you come, and you know, this happens, hang on, this happens a lot in Thai relationships. Thai women know what the men need, and some, they just go, he's clean, he's fairly good looking, or he's what I
Well,
want,
she was wrong there.
whatever. But I mean, you know, they just see something and they go, okay, I'll take a chance. And then it works because they want it to work. And honestly, I would say the reason that I'm still married after all these years is because of not only because of her, it's because of me too, but a lot of it is because of her, because she's just like, we're staying married. I mean, you know.
Both of us have done stupid shit.
Yeah, so she's eligible for Social Security.
Yeah, she's receiving it.
Right. Oh, she's getting it now.
Yes, yeah.
How is she getting it now?
She got it at 62.
Oh, she's 62.
Yeah, she's a Thai woman. She looks like she's 40 years old.
So how old are you?
I'm 67.
So you're 67,
It's not
she's
a big age
62.
difference.
No. Okay.
And then she even told me, you know, I'm spoiled goods. I was married. I'm divorced now. I've got a child. Well, he's an adult.
Right.
I'm not gonna. She wasn't gonna find another Thai man.
Well, usually the Thai men will be like, she's been with someone else, I don't want her, or, you know, she's been with a foreigner, I don't want her, or she's got kids, I don't want. That's how they are.
So
and,
she kind of,
you know,
and she didn't want to deal with another Thai man.
Right. Yeah.
And she came flat out said, no, you know what? I'm damaged goods. No, sit down.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to pay the family.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, that's. I don't think of that as a big deal anymore. I think it's changing. The culture is changing a little bit, and well, a lot. I think it's changing a lot.
I think if the young couple, comes from two good families, it's going to happen. And the way it worked out with my nephew is they provided a lot of money to his wife, and the wife's family put it right back into a business for them.
Yeah.
And that's technically what you're supposed to do.
Well, that's what a lot of
You
them
don't
do.
you don't run off with the money.
No, or what they'll do is they'll put half of it like in the woman's bank account in like a CD or something, and they'll say, if he ever leaves you, you got money to take care of yourself for a while. Then they take the other half and they do something. They buy a piece of land, they buy a car, they buy whatever for you guys.
Yeah. Well, they bought a coffee shop.
So that's good.
And it is probably one of the best coffee shops in town, and he's making bank on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a year after he opened it, he's like, oh, I got cash to buy a Harley. And it's like, are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah. So you moved here. It was quite a long time. It was about 10 years.
It took 10 years to move here.
Wow, you're like Jono. Jono, if you're listening.
Is Jono married?
No, he's not married. He was married to a Thai girl. But it took him 10 years of getting set himself up to come here for retirement and all that. So now he's doing quite well. He's very comfortable.
I almost, and at one point I was between jobs, and I almost hung it up and came over to I'll go teach English. Which would have been a big mistake.
Yeah, good you didn't do that.
Which would have been a big mistake. Because I know several Qurans who are living teaching English, and some of them are my age now, and they've got no backup.
Yeah. I think the only way that teaching English is a good thing is if, and I know somebody who does this. He's an Australian guy, Ron, and he teaches at a university. If you are a university professor, okay, you're going to make more money. You're going to have some things in place that will help take care of you, and benefits and stuff like that. And I think that's a lot better than some little rinky-dink language school hiring you, and you're making $30,000, $35,000 a month.
I've got a couple of friends up there that teach in high school English, and they're not going to make it on that. So they do tutoring online, they've got people in Uzbekistan or wherever it is that they're teaching English to online, and they've got an agency they go through they put a bid out there, and it's like, well, if this guy wants to offer me that much, I'll do it. So the price is negotiable. It's not,
Right.
And they say, these are my rates. If you want it, take it.
Yeah.
And
So-
they have to do that.
So when you after you moved over here, now when you got set up, I mean, were you coming back and forth to Thailand a couple of times?
Absolutely not.
You didn't come at all?
No. After our engagement, after we got married,
Right.
and we're both living there, I would come over every 2 years.
Oh, every 2 years.
And
So would you set yourself up a little bit, like, like, okay, I like this area, I want to live here. Would
Well,
you start looking around?
She already had a home,
Oh,
free and clear.
okay.
So we're living in her home. It's
That's the one in Chaiyaphum
the
now.
one in Chaiyaphum.
Okay.
That home in Las Vegas would be $1 million.
Okay.
It's-
Well, that's neither here nor there. You're not there. You're here.
Right,
So,
but I'm just saying, the value of the home, it's really good. It's
Right,
all
right.
teak, marble,
A teak, that's
4 bedrooms, a huge loft, and it's got a ton of room in it.
yeah.
But it was in terrible disrepair. So every time I'd come over,
Put
I
some
would
money
put
in
some
it.
money into it,
Okay.
and I would buy some tools so that I could start doing a lot of this stuff
Okay.
myself. So
Okay.
when I finally got here permanently, it's like, okay, I
The
got
place
all
is
my
pretty
tools.
well taken care
I
of.
built a workshop. I'm going to fix everything.
Oh, okay.
So I went through, did all the electrical, did all the plumbing.
So now you've been here how long?
About 2 years, 2 months,
2
3
years,
months,
and 2
whatever.
months. Okay.
I think my learning curve.
So that's about 12 years altogether, the whole process for you to well, first of all, you got involved, but for
Yeah.
you to think about moving here and then moving here and actually assimilating into the culture, it's about 12 years.
Yes.
Okay.
And I was fortunate because, like I said, my next door neighbor was Thai. Several people I worked with were Thai, and I started focusing on them and hanging out with them and learning their culture while I was there.
Uh-huh.
So that I didn't come over here and didn't have a friggin' clue.
Yeah.
I went and hung out with them. They had Thai events, they had walks they would go to.
Yeah. I used to do that with I was learning about Thai culture. Just kind of at my own pace, which was kind of nice. But then, when I came over here, and I said, when I finally said, you know what, I've been going back and forth here. I'm going to live here full time. That took me, I don't know how long it was. It was a couple of years, but it was about 5 trips.
Well, you know my opinion on how I feel about certain Farans
Yes.
who come over here and will not learn the culture, will not learn the language.
Yeah, but you can't worry about them.
No, but I'm just saying they give us a bad name, and when you go out, let's say you go out as a group, and they're assholes.
Yeah, I never do that.
And I said, okay.
I don't generally go out with guys who are assholes.
Well, they're
You know.
shut off. I'm not going to hang out with this guy anymore.
Yeah.
And it's just disappointing because and I hate to degrade Americans, but you come from America, and a lot of these people think that they're entitled, and they've got a lot of entitlement strictly because they're American, and they go to another country, and they think that that the people in that country should bow down to them because they're
No.
American.
Well, see, I have, let me see here. I have probably, I don't know, Jono's American, Billy's American, Bob's American.
Having dinner with Bob tonight.
I have several people that are my friends that are Americans. I have a couple that are British. And what I would say is these people, they're not like the Americans you're talking about. That's
No, I
not
know
how they
that.
are. They basically, they allow themselves some time and they start to fit in. Like Jono, he's actually starting to learn Thai. He's actually studying Thai now, which I'm like, man, that's great.
Yeah.
Because in order to really learn the culture and get deep into the culture, you need to learn the language.
But there are scores of Farans that you've encountered that you've chosen not to have them in your circle because they're like that. So you've narrowed your circle down to those
Yeah,
that fit into-
really, you are looking for people to hang out with.
Not necessarily.
In your village. This guy lives over here. We're gonna all have a beer together. I don't do that shit. I got my family, I got my kids, I got a couple of close friends, and I hang out with them, and generally every friend I have, I've had for many years.
You've often told me, Jim, give it time. Jim, give it time. You are correct on that.
I know.
Because and I
Hate
thought,
to say that,
I've got a great network of friends here that support
But you'll
me.
see.
And what was once 20 is now down to a handful.
Yeah.
Because you know what? I need to cut this guy off, or this guy.
Yeah.
They're a terrible misogynist or whatever.
Well, I don't
the
know.
way they
I
speak
can't
down
say
to-
anything about being a misogynist. I'm not that I am one, but I don't really say much about it unless they are over the top. But I just don't hang out with people that I have issues with.
No, and I have issues with these people based on their behavior.
Yeah. So then you don't want to hang out with them.
No.
Well, that's what I was talking about. Is eventually you start to go, these guys are assholes. I don't want to be around them. And I don't usually go out at night very often because I'm at home with my family. And if I go out at night, it's usually with my wife. And if I go out at night, sometimes it's because I want to go out with a buddy I haven't seen in a while, or they're going to go do something special. And maybe, once every couple of months, I might go out with somebody. And that's about it. I mean, it's not that I have a boring life, but I have a different life. And like I was telling you before we got on here, thank you very much, Dowlo. $1 for Scott, $1 for Jim, and $1 for YouTube. God. Thank you very much there, Dowlo.
Thanks, Dowlo.
Now I forgot what I was going to say, son of a bitch.
We can get back to relationship.
Okay, let's get back to relationships. My
And
favorite subject.
And a lot of these Thai women who are married to Parangs don't ever go back to the country, to their home country.
They don't come back to Thailand.
No, they don't go to Britain or and they don't understand the Farang husband, their culture, and that probably creates some friction in relationships because there's different. My wife understands American culture, so she gives me kind of some leeway.
I mean, I would say, like all the people that I know, that either they don't have a girlfriend or a wife, or they're married, and most of them, from what I know, I only know one who got a divorce, and actually he might still be married. He never got a divorce, but they're just separated for years. But I think most of them stay married. Most are pretty happy. Now, Dowlo said something here. He said, not sure if I could live in Thailand permanently. I'd really need to make a bigger effort in learning Thai. I really do. I don't care what my wife says, because my wife has said, you don't really need to learn Thai to know Thai culture. And I'm like, and at first I thought superficially, maybe not.
You can get by.
But I know plenty of people who just get by, and I know people who their pronunciation is shit. They don't know all that many words, but they get by because they try. I think if you don't try, it's when you try, you endear yourself to the people, and listen, I can't tell you how many times I've just got into a taxi, I say, Sawadee Kap, and then he'll say something, and I'll say something back, you can speak Thai, and they're excited because you speak the language. And like, for me, it's not a big deal now, because I'm like, I've spoke the language for years, what do you expect? But
I'm not nearly to the level that I should be at after 2 years.
No, but you got to give it time, man.
But
really,
I am far more advanced than anybody else up where I live. And that's scary because very few locals speak English.
Wow. So you're saying that the foreigners who live up there, they don't speak Thai, a lot of them?
No.
Yeah, that's pretty
we got
sad.
Google Translate, and you go into a
that's
coffee
really
shop or
bad.
something. I know how to order food and make purchases and count and do that stuff. I can't get into a deep philosophical conversation. But
I remember living in Udon Thani, and trying to speak Thai to people, and some of them wouldn't understand me, and some would, and I just progressed that way because I was trying. I think if I could speak Thai, it'd be a completely different experience being in Thailand. Yes, I think you're right, Dallo.
And up in Chaiyaphum, every major business up there that I might go to knows me because it's a small city.
Right.
And there's generally...
Don't you know who I am?
Yeah, but
I'm Chaiyaphum Jim.
I'm Loong Jim, and they don't know me. Loong Jim.
Yeah.
And my wife, she knows everybody in the city. We go out somewhere and we can't go into a mall or something without her running into 20 people she knows. And now I know a lot of those people.
Oh, I have to tell you, I was sitting right over here to the right yesterday, and 3 people came up to me. One was a guy that I had seen him a couple of years ago. I don't remember his name, sorry. And he walked up to me and he goes, "Hey, Scott, how you doing?" And I was like, and then I shook his hand and he goes, "So this is my wife. This is my father. My father is thinking about moving over here. Don't you remember we met back?" And I went, "Oh, wow, yeah, I do remember. Hey, how you doing?" And the guy met me like 5 years ago. Something like that, And I was like, wow, so people still do know who I am.
You could live in like Sukhumvit or one of those and not speak Thai because you're going to run into a lot of people who speak English.
Right.
Don't go to Chaiyaphum or Sisaket or Yasothon or something if you don't speak the language.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that. However,
if you're single and in that situation, I can turn to my wife and say, what did he say?
Yeah.
And we're good.
Right. But I can tell you that somebody like Jono who is just learning, if he were to move out in the country, first of all, his language skills would progress rapidly. Second of all, I don't think he's there yet. I think he needs some more time. But let's say after a year, he'll speak basic Thai, and he'll be able to...
Is he taking courses?
Yes. He's taking
I'd like to know,
courses.
Because I need to sign up for some courses. Right now, I'm at like first grade level.
Yeah, I can find out from him. I don't know exactly where, because he does it online. Which, I always, when I was learning Thai, okay, when I first came over here, I bought a 20-hour course. I only finished 10 hours because I was too busy running around. I was too busy, I got this girl with me, I don't have time right now, I gotta cancel. I never finished the course. Then, probably 8 years later, some guy wrote me and said, "I need some help on my film. I'm making a film. Would you like to work with me, and you can be the translator, you can be a consultant," and all this. And I went, yeah, okay. And then I went, my Thai to get language skills to improve, because when this guy comes over, he's paying good money. I'm like, I don't want to, fall flat on my face. And so I learned another 20 hours, but the girl came to my house. I live right down the street on Lot Prowl 111. She used to come to my house for, I think it was an hour and a half. And she gave me the lessons, and, I had 20 hours, and that was it. But I learned how to read Thai, and I learned how to speak it, and it definitely helped me improve.
Learning Thai to read would be very important.
You really should learn how to read.
Driving around and you're looking for a city or something.
Well, yeah, but you need to learn to read Thai while you're learning to speak Thai, because it really does come in handy. I mean, I can tell you anything that's in clear Thai, I can read. And I can tell you on the road, it does help you. And sometimes you're just like, what does that mean? And you're like, oh, okay, 2 for 1 special. And you're like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
So it does help. So now you've come to Thailand. You're settling down now. So what do you think some of the positives here in Thailand, what do you think some of them are?
Number one, I would say the culture. And people, they would put money first.
No, I wouldn't put money first.
I would say that the respect especially maybe not so much in urban areas because that's the way any urban area is. People become insensitive. Out where I live, there's a lot of respect, even for us farms, and especially for us, that, you know, there's just that culture. And I can't explain it, but
Yeah, I know what you mean about the culture and people who are respectful and all that. I think for me, it's the importance of family
yes,
and the closeness of the families, and then also what really struck me about this place is long-term relationships. When you are doing things here, people are very aware, hey, I might be working with this guy for another 30 years. I might be working with this guy for another 10 years, whatever it is. And so they really try to work together and work through their issues instead of having problems and just saying, screw you.
I will say, okay, and perfect example between the two cultures. Thais try very hard not to piss somebody off. They don't want that. They want, even the person they don't like, they're not going to allow them to lose face. The culture dictates that. Meanwhile, of the Farangs that I know here, there's always some type of conflict between several of them. There have been fist fights over freaking football.
Well, that's stupid. If you ask me,
yeah,
that's pretty stupid.
And you wouldn't see that. You wouldn't see two Thais
Well,
get pissed off over a craw game or something like that.
You might if they're gambling.
Okay.
All right, so
can I get into gambling?
Let's. If you get it, listen. I used to be involved in Muay Thai and boxing, and Muay Thai. It's you gamble there, and that is why the sport is such fun for people because they're gambling. And they used to have fences up in Lumpini Stadium so that when people got pissed off, they couldn't throw bottles at the fighters and at the ring. So I know about this, and I know a guy who he threw a fight once because he was going to get money for it and all this other stuff. So I understand about that, but I still think gambling, not that I haven't gambled before, I still think gambling you should try to stay away from it, because it's too easy to get in deep.
You're talking to the guy that worked on the casino floor at MGM. So I understand gambling. And a little anecdote here. I told you my next door neighbor, Yen, was Thai. She is a dealer at Flamingo. So my wife comes over, and they're buds already. And my wife is like, "Oh, that's so glamorous. I want to be a dealer." And by the way, this isn't dealing meth, okay?
Right, I know.
So,
dealing blackjack or whatever.
So I take her, enroll her in dealer school, and she excels there. She's got the skills down. She's totally focused. She goes to kind of sit in at one of the casinos and sees how obnoxious the players are, blowing smoke in their face, dropping F-bombs at their face. They lose a couple of hands and they're blaming the dealer.
Right.
And coming from a nice culture like Thailand, she says, I don't want to put up with this shit.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a dealer anymore.
Wow.
So she went off. A friend of hers owned a restaurant. She became the chef in that restaurant. Did really well. So a couple of years later, she would go out once a week, drop down 100, and play. And she was very good at it because the emotion was left out of it. She was playing 100% textbook rules.
Right.
Because she learned before she was a gambler. So she would go and she liked the interaction, meeting people at the tables and stuff like that. And the regulars that went every week, and it was a social thing. And she would make a lot of money. And she was very good at blackjack. And blackjack gives you the best odds of any game there is. At one point, like I said, I was between jobs, need to make the house payment, need some food.
And she made it from gambling.
And I didn't want to dip into my savings. And I said, well, it's gonna suck because I'm tight on the rent on the mortgage this month. And she pulls $200 out of her pocket. She goes, let's go. It's like, go where? And she goes, let's go. It was Suncoast Casino. What? We don't have money. She goes, we're going to win tonight. And she went there and she was super focused. And me, I don't want to be at the table. And I don't gamble. So I go in the sports book and I'm watching sports and the scores come in and everything. Go back about an hour later. She's got about $500 or $600 on the table. So I pull $400 chips from my pocket, walk away. We're playing with house money now.
Right. Which is what you
So
want to do.
I come back like every hour and check, and her stack is getting higher and higher to the point where I think we ended up coming home with $3,000 or $4,000 that night. And she was super focused, and she's like this,
Yeah.
the whole thing. So next day, telling my brother, dude, I was screwed. Had no money. She went out, parlayed $200 into about $3,000 or $4,000, and it's all good. And he goes, man, she's a shark. So I started thinking, what body of water in Thailand could I associate with, in Chaiyaphum specifically? And the Chi River headwaters are in Chaiyaphum. So I started calling her the Chi River Shark, and the name stuck with her, so now everybody knows her as the Chi River Shark. Some people think, why are you demoralizing her, calling her a shark? It's like, no, she loves that name.
Yeah.
So I just had to throw that in there.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I don't generally gamble. When I do gamble, which is I haven't gambled in years, but when I did gamble, it was on tennis and boxing. And the reason was because I knew a lot about tennis players and I knew a lot about boxing, and I really knew the boxing scene. So I would know if a guy got injured. I know all kinds of things. And so I won some money, but like in the long run, generally you end up losing at some point.
Oh no, you're not going to win over the long run.
No, you're not.
Those casinos were not built on them losing money.
No. So the positives, you say the positives are the culture.
The culture and the cost of living.
Okay.
I've got two retirement funds that would get me by in America, but when
Here
I'm
you
living
live
here,
good.
I'm traveling to Vietnam twice, Laos 3 or 4 times, Malaysia, Singapore, and then a couple dozen provinces that I've taken trips to, and I'm living large right there. And I couldn't afford to do that. Maybe a trip to Mexico or something once a year if I was in America.
Well, that's. I think that the big reason why people come here is the cost of living.
Yes.
If you were to say to me, Scott, would you rather live in, and I'm just using this as an example, but would you rather live in Switzerland on the beautiful Lake Lucerne and you have a big house and you have everything you need, or would you rather live in Thailand? I say, well, how much money do I have?
Yeah.
Well, if you got the money to live in Switzerland, a lot of people would say, I don't want to live in
I live in
Thailand.
northern Italy or something.
Yeah, you live somewhere else. I mean, even Costa Rica, the cost of living is higher than in Thailand. So, maybe you live in Costa Rica. What I'm saying is, Thailand is the place for people who are concerned about money, and they're thinking about how can I get the most bang for my buck, which is most people.
Exactly, it's the best value.
Yeah, the most bang for your buck, and that is most people. Some people, they got plenty of money, they go, I don't have to live in Thailand. I can live in Greece, I can live in Spain, I can live wherever. So, that's something to think about.
No, it is. You get a really good bang for your buck here, as you said. And there's lots of places that I could live and be happy. I could technically live in Laos and be happy. My wife would. She needs coffee shops like this.
No, there are coffee shops like this in Laos.
But they're
in Luong Prabang, there are coffee shops like this.
But she needs her network of...
The thing with Thailand is that in Thailand, there's an abundance of just about everything you need.
Except in China.
Well,
No,
you're talking about a village, but I'm talking about in a big city, generally you're going to find whatever you need. You want Mexican food, you're going to find tortillas, you're going to find tacos. They have all that stuff right here. Very easily.
It's getting better. When I first came here, my first visit, Chaiyaphum had no mall, no movie theaters. There's you had Big C and you had Lotus, and that was about it. And maybe one or two nice restaurants.
Right.
Now we've got a mall, 3 movie theaters, and the demographic is changing. There's an evolving middle class now, where back then everything on the road was a motorbike. Now everybody's driving a 4-wheel vehicle.
Yeah. You know, like I said before, I've been for a long time. I've been thinking about getting a motorcycle. Now, I'd rather get a car, but if I'm going to get a car, that means it's like buying a house here.
Well, it'd be a pain in the ass around here.
And I don't want to drive in Bangkok. I don't need to. Would I have a motorcycle? Well, I wouldn't mind having one just to piddle around, but you know, there's that party. But you know, I was looking in like a motorcycle. You get a motorcycle for 70,000, 75,000 baht. A nice motorcycle, brand new.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's not much. Yeah. That's pretty cheap. You know, I was surprised. I thought they were like 100, 120,000.
On Marketplace, you can get really decent ones for a fraction of that.
Yeah. No, I know, but you know, what does it say? I really don't worry too much about eating Western food while I'm in Thailand. Plenty of delicious and different types. Yeah, what I would say about that is if you've been here long enough, you will get tired of certain Thai foods.
Absolutely.
And you're going to want not just American food or Australian food. You're going to want Japanese food. You might want Korean food. You might want German food. You might want French food. That's the thing. I live here. I go to the grocery store and I go, oh, I want burgers. They got great burgers. I showed you yesterday. You can get good burgers. You can get whatever you want. You want something like German sausage, you can get German sausage. Whatever you want, you can buy it and make it yourself, or you can just go out to a restaurant. You know, it really depends.
Dalo, in America, I live within a 3-mile radius of Italian, Mexican, pretty much anything. And when you look at it in Thailand and Thai food, like Scott said, you know, you may want to go to a Vietnamese restaurant or something like that. We fortunately have some of those, but you don't want to be in America. You don't want to be eating only hamburgers, hot dogs, steak, and
Or
potatoes
Vegemite.
Yeah.
Or Vegemite sandwiches.
Yeah.
Ugh. God forbid.
You've got other choices there. Up where I live, the choices are pretty narrow. So when I come down here,
We should stock up a little bit.
Head over to that store there later on today to stock up on.
Well, I got to go to the grocery too, and I'll tell you, like, I had a big tub of peanut butter. Now, I don't eat a whole lot of peanut butter, but I always like to have it just in case. I put it on celery. I'll heat it up and put it on bread, or I'll put it on like sourdough bread or something like that. And I, always with the butter. We always use butter. And, I'm always buying Western stuff. So I need to know that when I go into my refrigerator, my kid doesn't look and go, oh, is there Thai food here? What Thai food are we going to have? He's like, you know what? I got some oatmeal here. I'm going to put some fruit in there. He doesn't care if it's Thai. He doesn't really care. But then, I went home. I told you what happened last night and everything. I go home and I look on the table and there's Pat Krapow that my wife got for Alex. And she's like, oh, okay, Daniel, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Choke day to you. So he's got Pat Krapow in there and he'll eat it. Because it doesn't matter. He likes Thai food, of course. He likes American food. He likes all kinds of food. So, that's the thing.
Let me clear some things up about living up in East Sound.
Yes, please do that.
We don't all live in thatched huts.
Oh,
and
no.
there's not a kwai in our backyard. And Chaiyaphum has a population of 60,000 in the city itself. It'll never go higher than that because it's a relatively
People don't want to live
small geographical area. And
Oh, God.
it's all built up. So it's very
Yeah.
urban right there in the few square kilometers.
Right.
But the surrounding area, which isn't listed as, Chaiyaphum City, there's probably a couple 100,000 people right in the suburb, probably within the 10, 15 kilometer radius. So it isn't.
I mean, why did you move there? Because your wife has the house there?
Her mother lives right next door to us.
Oh, God. So you live next to your mother-in-law?
Yeah, and
Oh, my
unfortunate
God.
because she loves me.
Well, I mean, that's good because before my wife's mother passed away, when her mother met me, she was like, "Oh my God, my daughter's going to be with a foreigner."
Oh, no.
And then after a little while, when she saw me with the kids and how I was, she was like, "You know what? She loved me." And I was so happy.
I mentioned how we came back from Laos. We went to the jewelry store.
Yeah.
We called everybody into the house.
Oh, God.
And we had the Korean barbecue set up. And we're sitting in the living room with the entire family. And I have to ask my mother-in-law now permission to marry her daughter. We're going through all this technicality. We have photos of that scene. And the disdain on her face.
Oh, Daniel lives in Phuket, Chaiyaphum.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's about an hour.
He spends a lot of time in Pattaya, but I guess he lives there too.
45-minute drive.
Yeah,
from me.
and in the United States.
Tell me, go to Cassette Sambun, go to the KS Resort, talk to Dave there, get yourself a good Farang meal, tell him Loong Jim from Chaiyaphum sent you.
There you
It's
go.
all good. So the disdain she had for me, she's looking at me like this, and it was like,
You filthy Farang. Oh,
and then
God.
I said, and then her brother stands up and says, no, you don't need permission from her, you need permission from me. And I'm the person that makes decisions in this family. And it's like, what a dick. And he goes, and I think it's a good thing. So he was just dicking with me. And going back to the family, they've never asked me for anything. They've never asked me for money. They've only asked for my advice. And they respect my input into family matters. And I know that's not typical of most situations here.
Yeah.
I lucked out.
I mean, I let my wife handle everything with her family because I don't want to get involved unless they come to me and say, "Scott, can you help me?" And sometimes, I mean, very rarely will they do that. They'll ask me about things like about America, about traveling, things like that. But any other time, I would say she handles everything and I let her handle it. And, there's certain things that I've learned over being married for 25 years, and one of them is leave your wife be. If she cares about you, she loves you, you don't have anything to think about, worry about, you don't have any of that. So just let her be, let her do her thing, and she's going to be happy. If I'm, there every second, like, what are you doing? Where are you going? I don't do all that,
One of the things that made me feel accepted into the family, Took's sister now was the, what do you call it, the matron saint of the family, the
matriarch.
The matriarch. She was the matriarch of the family. And she kind of settled all disputes and stuff, and she was somewhat assertive. She held a good position with the government, and then she passed away. And that was about 5 years ago. And she would consult with me on things because she didn't trust some other family members to make the right decision. And I felt acceptance from her, and she accepted me to the family right away. And that was important because they all looked up to her, even though she was one of the younger ones. After she passed away, her daughter, and I'm in the United States when she passed away, her daughter contacts me and says, my mom's obviously passed. Why don't you move here? We need somebody to offer some guidance to the family.
Wow.
And that made me realize I am totally accepted.
Yeah.
Because they want me to play that role. It's like, well, I'm not really as much part of the family as the blood part, I will do what I can. And they do. They come to me to help solve disputes and stuff like that.
See, we don't have any disputes. And if there's a dispute, my wife
So you're
handles
not
it.
living next door to your sister-in-law and
My mother-in-law,
and
I'm
your
not, no.
brother-in-law.
I see, this is the difference. I would say this is the difference between you and I. I don't have, my wife's family, I think she has 2 sisters. She has 2 sisters now. 2 of the brothers passed away. Her mother passed away. Her father passed away before I even met her. And so, you know, we are her family, and her sisters, you know, they're close. They talk and everything like that. But they don't have any big issues where they're fighting or where they're, you know, like arguing about what's going to happen with it. My wife is she's the matriarch.
Yeah.
And so,
And then you don't have to worry about it.
that's the thing. I leave her be. I just let her go. Okay, if she needs help from me, she will come. She needed help from me a while back because she goes, you know.
But when that void happened and we lost Mail, it was anarchy.
Really?
Yeah, it was like, well, who's gonna take care of Mom and who's gonna do
God.
this? And
Yeah.
and I seem to be, who may be a poor choice, the most level-headed of the group, but.
Yeah. Well, you know, like I was saying, you know, when it comes to me, in my relationship with my wife, I trust my wife. She does whatever she needs to do, and I think she makes good judgments. If she has questions about something, she will come to me. She will ask me, what do I think about this? What do I think about that? Now, you know, she doesn't do that very often, but sometimes she will come to me and say, what do you think about this? What do you think about it? And that's about the extent. Anything other, I don't want to get involved. You know, we have a house in the South, okay? We have plenty of vegetables, fruit, all this other stuff there. And her sisters were working, they had rubber farms. They had their own land, they had all this stuff. And after a while, they sold some of the land, they weren't making as much money, and they're like, shit, what are we gonna do? So my wife, she put a roof on the house, a better roof on the house. She got it all fixed up. It's pretty much fixed up now. And what they did was they went and organized all the fruit and vegetables to where it's growing, to where they have everything in a nice way, you know, organized fashion.
That doesn't happen in our home.
No, it doesn't usually happen. It wasn't like that before, but what they do is they use that, and they take the fruit and vegetable every day now, and they have chickens, so they get gayang, they get somtam, they get the vegetables, they get the fruit, they go out and sell it. And her sister was just telling me the other day, she said, you know, I live down here in the South. She goes, I don't need 100,000, 200,000 bucks. She goes, I make 30, 40,000 just selling vegetables, and my sister makes the same amount. She's like, we got plenty of money.
Yeah.
they're doing good, and you know, that made me really happy because what they did was they built a little fruit and vegetable stand in front of the house. So all they do is they just walk out in front of the house. They got all their fruit and vegetables. Here you go.
Another difference between
it's
Thailand
great.
and America, because
You can't do that in America.
You can't do that shit anywhere in America. You start selling stuff
No,
off
you
your
need to have
lawn.
permits and all this other shit. You want
don't have
a
sink,
lemonade
you don't have a
stand?
fire extinguisher, and
Jesus Christ, I mean, a lemonade stand? You can't even have a lemonade stand anymore?
here we'll be
hell?
driving down the road, and it's like kapot. It's like they're selling corn on the cob. Oh, stop.
Cowboy.
Huh?
Cowboy.
Kapot. Here's another difference between Scott and myself. In America, somebody from Waco, Texas couldn't go and fit in New York, and a New Yorker couldn't go and fit in Waco, Texas. And that's kind of the way it is between, I might not fit in Bangkok right now. I could adapt.
You could, I mean,
but
and I could adapt to Chaiyaphum. Believe me, I've lived in the country before. I've lived out in the villages.
A lot of these people we see, and like I said, I've been in Pattaya the last day or two. most of those Farangs down there could not make it up where I am. They don't speak the language. They don't understand the culture. They just don't try to fit in.
Well, the thing is that Pattaya is predominantly a tourist destination
Yes.
where people are passing through. So they really don't, a lot of them don't want to get out of Pattaya. They just want to stay in Pattaya, get laid, see the sights a little bit. That's all they want. They don't want to go, they don't care about the village, they don't want to do that. And some of the ones that live there that do want to do it, they could do it, but some of them, they'd be like, they'd either be bored out of their heads or they wouldn't have anything to do. You have your wife there, you have a house, so, you know, you're comfortable. Some people go there, they go, where am I going to live? Oh, shit, you know, what, you know, I'm going to have to buy a house. Oh, I don't really have the money for a house. You can buy one for a couple $100,000 if you really want.
For 5,000 baht a month, you can get a really nice apartment up there. With, you know.
But you can get that here.
No, but I'm just saying,
if you really
those that are looking for a place to live, that's a nice one. If you want to live in a studio or something, and that includes air and stuff.
You know, the thing is that what people don't know is here, there are Thais that are living in little 1,500 baht a month apartments. They just have a room. Well, those are like 500 baht. They have a little room, and then maybe the bathroom is a community bathroom. But they save money. And when my wife was going to school...
Well, that's what you get in New York City for a lot more money.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing about New York. I mean, if you're going to go live in New York is expensive. There's a lot of places that are expensive. Supposedly, Tokyo is not the most expensive Asian city anymore. It's Singapore. And, you know, I know if you want to live in Singapore, you got to have money, you know, but I still think Tokyo is more expensive.
I was in Singapore, about 5-6 weeks ago, and one of our drivers is like, oh, you should move here and stuff. It's like, I can't afford to live here. He said he knew places where you could get really good rent and stuff like that. So maybe if you speak to a local, but it's still the food cost, unless you're going to the Chinese food court every day.
No way would you live in Singapore. If you here, you could, let's say you live off 60,000 baht a month. You're a single guy. You have a pretty good life for 60,000 baht, right? Now you go to Singapore, that translates into what? Maybe $1,750. You go there with $1,750. You can get by, but you're not going to be living. You're not going to be going out all the time. You're not going to be, you know, able to do the things that you can do here.
I'll slip in a little bit of finances. I give my wife $20,000 a month. That takes care of the house, electrical. She buys food. You know,
so she pays the electric bill?
She pays the electric bill.
And she pays, is there a mortgage or anything?
No, free and clear. And then she's got an allowance in there.
Okay.
So that's $20,000, $34,000 for my truck payments every month.
Wow, that's a lot.
Well, I did 4 years, not 6. So it's half paid for right now. That's $400 a month. And a little less than $400 right now.
Wait a minute.
34575 is my payment.
You're saying 34,000 is your payment for your truck? 34,000? That's almost $1,000 a month.
No. Oh no, I'm sorry. 14,575.
Okay.
34,000.
Yeah, okay. All right, that makes sense.
34,000 what I give my wife every month, and she pays for the truck.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That makes sense.
Good catch.
Yeah.
So 14,575 is about 390 or whatever.
Right. Now, let me ask you this.
Yes.
Because this is where people get caught up, but how much do you spend on food for 2 people?
I'll do 5,000 bits for my meat, and we go to macro once a month. I'll spend about 5,000, and then I'll buy odds and ends during the week. She takes money out of that 20,000, and she brings home food. We don't cook a lot at home. She makes sometimes like 5 times a week.
So where do you get your food? You buy it out from somewhere, or she brings it home?
5-star for one meal. And
for a chicken, yeah.
Yeah, we'll go to 5-star. We'll go get some Quitiao or something like that.
Quitiao?
Quitiao.
Quintio.
I'm just speaking Nissan dialect.
Uh-huh.
So, and we're not eating a lot. We're not going to foreign restaurants because there are none. So
Right.
everything there is food is very cheap.
Yeah.
And I will buy bulk meat,
From
pork
Macro.
and chicken from Macro, and make my own. And I'll buy once in a while some ground beef. Make my own hamburger.
You know that you can get ground beef here. Is it a kilo? It's a kilo of ground beef for 250 baht.
You know, our Lotus,
Which is
once
great.
in a while, has it really cheap, but they haven't had it for the last month or so.
I don't go to Lotus.
And
I don't know why,
I'll
but
buy
I just don't
2
go there.
kilos, and then when I get home, I make my own hamburger patties, put them in Ziploc bags, and I'm making hamburgers for 2 months.
Yeah.
Um,
I make meatloaf. I make. I get meatballs and mix it with pork, and then make the meatballs, and then put it in spaghetti and stuff like that.
And
I mean, I do
get
all
the
kinds of stuff like that.
Was it Lowry's or whatever McCormick taco mix?
Oh yeah.
And I'll buy a couple kilos of chicken and
But
build,
you
know,
need a taco shell.
make tacos and then use flour tortillas.
Oh.
Make little. They don't sell the big size where I live.
They sell them here.
I'm gonna be there.
They got plenty of them here.
They don't. They only sell the soft taco size. So I make all that, freeze it, and keep some in the refrigerator. And I've got tacos for 3 months. So
But I don't cook that far in advance. I mean, I look at a week and I go, okay, what am I gonna have? I go, okay, I got sausage, I got hamburgers, I got ground beef, I got chicken. I have enough for a week right here, yes. And then maybe I have to get some milk and stuff. But I mean, I spend probably anywhere from about, I'd say about 15,000.
I budget
Plus my wife spends money.
I budget myself 3,000 baht a day. That's like
3,000? That's about
no,
100
no,
bucks.
I mean, $30 a day. 1,000 baht. I budget myself 1,000 baht a day.
Baht a day. Okay.
1,000 baht a day. I've not exceeded that.
For what is that for? For
That's
food, for going
driving,
out?
and generally travel too.
Okay.
That's and that's
That's not bad. That's not bad. Yeah.
And I travel down here. My truck is American, over 30 miles a gallon. It's like, are you kidding me? And it's really efficient.
Yeah.
My insurance on the truck is would be $50 American a month. In
That's
America,
cheap.
America would be $400.
Yeah, that's cheap. $50 a month is cheap. And that's something, when I was looking yesterday on the website, I was looking at these Filano motorcycles and 160cc Hondas and stuff like that. And then I thought to myself, I've got to have insurance also. So I'm like, how much is that going to cost? Then I'm thinking, maintenance, how much is that going to cost? But I want to pay cash for the motorcycle. So I'm like, okay, so, you're going to have a little bit of an extra expense every month for gas and maintenance and all that other stuff. But I don't think the insurance is going to be that much, so,
My motorbike, the battery went dead. And then, and it's like, well, and my wife left the lights on. So, and several times to the point where it couldn't recover itself.
So you get a new battery.
So I take it in, get a new battery. Hey, well, it's here. Give me an oil change. Check my brake tension for me, and it's like $20.
$20 a month.
No, $20 just for all that.
Oh,
service.
for everything. Oh, I see. I'm sorry.
It's like you did an oil change, you put a new battery and all. It's like, you gotta be kidding me.
Daniel is asking you. He's the one who lives in Chaiyaphum. He says, "Is that first-class insurance with no deductible?" You have a
no
deductible. Okay.
And here's the deal, and I didn't want to do this, but we have a narrow gateway into our house, and then very narrow soil, and I've scraped the fender a couple of times on my neighbor's fence post. So and my wife would come up, that's an eyesore. When we went to have the oil change and service done at the dealer, can the insurance cover this? They call the insurance agent. Yeah, bring it back next week. We'll keep it for a couple of days. They gave me, sanded all down, primed or whatever, touched up every freaking dent and scratch on the truck.
And your insurance didn't go up.
No.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah.
And Daniel, if you're looking, I bought mine at the Ford in Chaiyaphum, but I actually bought it online because they were dicking with me until somebody from corporate got on their ass. So we have 3 Toyota dealerships in the town, and they're pretty respectable.
Yeah, I mean, obviously car dealers are not my favorite kind of people. And that's why, for me, when it comes to a house, when it comes to a car, we got to be able to pay cash. I don't want to have to dick around with payments, and then the interest that you're paying
2.9
is generally very high. 2.9 is not bad.
No.
But when you buy a house, you're paying a hell of a lot more for that house because of your payments than if you just pay cash. So, and my wife is looking at a place now. It's right near where we live. And I looked at it already, and it looks pretty good. It's not that expensive. It's not even 3 million baht. And it's a pretty nice house, townhouse. And I'm like, you know what? For the kind of money that you need to spend on this thing, it's well worth it. I'm like, we could have one person. The kids could be living in one place. We live in the other. We have our own places. They got jobs. They're working. So. Yeah, so Alex is just about done with his probationary period. He's in training right now for this week, and then next week is the last week. And he's like, well, I hope they don't fire me.
What kind of occupation?
Right now he's customer service for this hotel company where my wife works, which is an international company, and it's a big company.
I was a hotel executive in my career.
Yeah, well, she's an executive now. So, but he got in on his own, and so he's doing his thing. And I hear him sometimes, and I just leave him alone. Hey, don't worry about it. Do your best. That's all you got to do. And he told me yesterday. He said, I've already got 70,000 baht saved. 3 months.
Yeah, he's got a good head on his shoulders.
I'm like, man,
they're gonna hold on to him.
You're saving almost 25,000 a month, and I'm like, he's only earning like 30. He just started out, but I'm like, in a year you'll be making more than that. You stash the money, and for me that's the whole thing. It's like you got a nest egg. You don't have to worry about anything. Just put the money away, because you know what? I hate to say this, because I'm not always cash rich. I'm usually cash poor. But the cash is what gives you the options.
Yeah.
And what I tell them is, and I didn't learn this until I don't know how old I was, but it wasn't that long ago, is that the money that you spend, you shouldn't be buying all kinds of gifts and stuff for yourself. No, use that money to make more money.
Yeah.
And that's what you just keep putting that away and putting it away. And so I think they're off to a good start, both of them actually. So that's good.
I am now doing what I wanted to do when I was in my teens and early 20s. The travel and all that stuff. I'm fortunate that I've maintained my health, that I can still do this while I can enjoy it.
Yeah. But it took you all these years to get to the point where you could do everything you wanted. Yeah, no, I understand that. That's not what I mean. But when you're young, you want all these things.
Yeah.
And then you're like, shit, I can't really afford it. I don't have the time.
Right.
Now, you have the time.
I made a lot
of
sacrifices, and it's paying off now. The stuff I do in my house, building a koi pond, traveling to all these foreign destinations and stuff.
My wife wants to go to Tibet.
I wouldn't mind going
She
there.
just said yesterday, she goes, we could go from Laos to China and then go to Tibet. And I'm like, you need to.
On a mountain
No, but when you go to Tibet,
like
there's a way there's a procedure that you have to go through in order to go there, because China doesn't want you going.
Right.
So I don't know exactly how it is, but yeah. But whatever, she's always thinking of things, and I'm just like, I'm like, I want to go to Bali and see the Komodo dragon. She's like, I want to go to Tibet. Now, Tibet, I'm into Tibet, I'm into Bhutan, but more into Tibet than Bhutan.
My village chief is from Italy. She lived in Italy for several years. She was married to an Italian, lived there. Her
Does she speak Italian?
She does,
Oh, that's
and
good.
she
That's
makes
wow.
me Italian food once in
Oh,
a
wow,
while.
that's all right.
And her daughter lives there, and her grandson. So I think she's headed back there next week or something. But she goes maybe once a year. And she told me, "Loong Jim, come to Italy with me." Now that's into its head. Like, we gotta go to Italy. We gotta go to Italy, and we can stay with her. So I'm kind of planning a year from now, a European tour for like 3 weeks or something. Go down, visit my grandfather's village.
You might end up moving to Italy.
Yeah.
You never know.
Well, there's places there that are very cheap also.
Yeah, I know. Listen. Nowadays, people think like, oh, Thailand is so cheap. Oh, the Philippines is so cheap. There are things that are very cheap in some countries. But if you really want to average it out and you want to go somewhere, if you have $3,000 or $4,000, you can live damn near anywhere and live a pretty good lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's that simple. If you're smart and you have that money coming in, you're not worried about it. If I had $4,000 a month and I could live in Ecuador very easily. I can live in Thailand very easily, obviously. So I think people forget that sometimes, that if they have a certain amount of money, that number is a magic number. That number will help them, So, anyway, so let me think what else I want. Oh, the negatives. The negatives about Thailand, and be honest. And don't say none.
No, there are negatives. The social, you don't have the same social life that you would have in America. But then again, I didn't keep a big social circle there either.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
And there are people
Doesn't bother me.
There are people who have been considered friends here who I would not have as
I
friends.
think the social circle here is different.
Yes.
But I don't have a problem with it. I like it. Sometimes I go out with my wife and she goes out with her friends and we all go out together. And I'm like, hey, I'm having a good time. I'm meeting these people. We have a good time. We have a good conversation. I come home. And that happens once in a great while.
I can't find an Arby's sandwich here. That's
I don't give a shit about all that. Listen, it would be nice to have an Arby's or Del Taco or In-N-Out. But, do I really care? I haven't ate them in 30 years. 30 plus years, so it doesn't matter to me. I can do without it. I much rather, I miss mahi-mahi, that dolphin fish.
Yeah.
I miss conch fritters. I miss key lime pie, because those are native to where I come from. And so I do miss those things because I still have them once in a while. Odalo says the constant heat and humidity gets to me sometimes. So that's another negative.
That has been, this summer it's worse than last summer.
Yes. Definitely.
And last summer, I seldom put the air conditioning on. I would have the fan going or something, and we would run the air conditioner while we slept. I'm running that air conditioner every afternoon now, and it's been killing me, and I don't go out. Last summer, I was out doing yard work, doing projects. It's like, I go out to work on a project now. It's like, no. I'm
Yeah. It's too hot. People don't understand that it's people used to laugh at me when I would go on these long walks. I would go on long walks in Bangkok, wherever I was. But I would go on I'm talking about 4 or 5 hour walks. And I'd be dripping in sweat.
I used to see you.
And people used to laugh. And I'd go, dude, if you come out here and you walk for a half an hour, you're going to be sweating your ass off. Nobody understood that.
I come in from doing something outside. I go upstairs and I take a shower, change my clothes. By the time I walk down the stairs to the living room, I am full of sweat again.
Oh, that doesn't happen to me because we have the air con on.
Well, no, and then I turn on the air,
Yeah.
and my wife's like, it was funny because in America, I'll give her shit. Stop turning on the air, stop turning on the heat. Don't leave the door open when you get the heat on. Now it's like, because that's coming out of her stipend, that I give her every month. It's like, turn off the air, because
Oh.
whatever she doesn't use for household expenses, that's her spending money.
Yeah.
So,
Well, listen, I mean, our electric bill is about 7,000 baht a month.
ours hit 4 and she freaked out.
Yours is 4 and she freaked out. Wow.
I explained it's a hotter summer. She's blaming it on my pumps for my pond and stuff like that. It's like, no, it's
Well,
the air.
I mean, we pay what it costs for electricity. We don't pay, extra or anything like that. And the thing is that we have a lot of different things that use electricity.
Yeah.
We have phones, we have computers. I mean, we have numerous computers, we have numerous phones, we have 2 refrigerators, we had 2 microwave ovens up until recently. We have a washing machine, we have lights, we have all this stuff. And I think just having that stuff on, it costs money. And then we have 2 air conditioners. We used to have 1, now we have 2. But they are more modern, so they don't use the same amount.
I bought new ones last year. It makes a difference. I don't have, where I am, I don't have a store like this where I can get a lot of Farang type products and stuff.
Yeah.
Lazada has been a help.
Lazada.
But I'm speaking like a Thai. Lazada. Like a Singaporean.
You're talking to me, I'm an American.
Okay. So,
Oh, Lazada, supermarket. The
but buying
supermarket.
stuff through them, especially Farang products, you're paying a premium. And something like Spam, which is like $1.95 in America, is like $6 or $7 here.
Yeah, but I got Spam recently. And actually, they had it in the grocery store
Oh, but they have it
recently.
up there. They have it up there, but you're paying.
But now there's a distributor. I met the distributor, the guy who was distributing the stuff for the main distributor of Spam. And, I bought a couple of cans to give to Billy. And then, I was here in the grocery and I go, what the hell is Spam?
Yeah.
I was like, wow, And I'll tell you the difference. There used to be, cereal Trix. Trix.
We
Trix is
have
for
Trix.
kids. Okay. It used to be that Trix was like 450 baht for a box. That's
Right.
like $14.
Yeah.
Now it's like the same. It's like 199 baht,
No, a lot of the
139
Farang
baht.
products are coming down in cost.
Yeah.
And there's products that
So you didn't ever tell me the negatives.
was one of them. I can't
What?
get I can't.
Oh,
get
you
the
can't get the
Western
products.
that I like.
Oh yeah. Anything else?
The heat.
Yeah, the heat,
Um,
pollution,
it's not
air,
that-
noise, and
Well,
other.
you see, we live in a suburb, and I can hear the dogs off in the distance, but it's not a very noisy
Right.
neighborhood,
Yeah.
except for
Kind of like in my village.
my nephew when he's drunk. He's the noisiest thing in the neighborhood. That type of stuff. I do a lot of my own contracting in the house. I build my own, do my own repairs and stuff. Going to Taiwan
Pro?
to do Home Pro, do Home, Global. Most of the people don't know shit about construction. And I'll go in there and know exactly what I want. And the most common item I get is my knee. It's like,
no have.
don't have.
Yeah.
Global.
And then if you look, it's sitting right there on the shelf.
I
Yeah.
will say though that I give with Do Home, not Do Home, Taiwan to Do. Taiwan to Do is top of my list now. And the reason I built a relationship with the electrical department, the plumbing department, and the appliance department where they know me, and I walk in there, my electrical girl will tell me, I'll tell her, this is what I'm doing. And she says, don't buy the good one, you don't need this one. Buy the cheap one because it does the same. Or she'll tell me, oh, you want this kind of bulb for a fixture? Don't get the cheap one, buy the Philips. The Philips is going to last you longer, it's more efficient. It's like, this person's great.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you go into one of those box stores or something.
Well, they're just hiring people off
and-
the streets,
right,
man.
And then
You know.
I would go to Global and buy wood, and I would buy this 4x4 beam and walk across it, and it would crack. So you can't buy decent shit. Everything you get here is from, or it's
Yeah.
tools. I buy a lot of power tools and hand tools. I try to get stuff out of Europe, Bosch or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But a lot of American stuff like Black & Decker, a lot of their other products are made in China.
Right. Yeah. That's the problem.
But you get some companies where they're making it in China, but they've got somebody over there watching the factory to make sure that they're holding the standard.
Yeah.
Black & Decker lost their standard. But trying to get
Yeah, we have a Black & Decker drill, and we almost never use it, but once in a great while we have to. And I don't remember what we paid for it or anything like that. I mean,
I bought a chop saw from Thai company Pumpkin.
huh? Thai company Pumpkin?
Pumpkin is the name of this tool company here in
Okay.
Thailand.
Pumpkin.
They say they're a Thai company.
What a great name. Pumpkin.
Right out of the box, there's a bad bearing in it. It's like, what a piece of shit.
Yeah,
And I have to go back and find a DeWalt or something like that, but
Yeah.
you cannot find decent product at drill bits.
So this is one of your complaints.
Yes.
You can't find decent products.
Yes.
Yeah, when it comes to tools and things like that, you have to be very careful. And I'll tell you what, I almost never buy anything from Lazada or Shopee because I find that most of the products are shit.
Well, I'll buy
The quality
brand
is
name.
crap.
I will buy my food items through them or something like that because I know I'm getting that specific.
Well, you think you are.
Well, no, there's craft products or something like that. I doubt very much that they're trying to knock off craft products.
Yeah. Well, what I'll do is I'll buy like some screws or nuts and bolts or something. And I mean, the other day, I've got so much hair, that I don't want to pay a whole lot of money to get my hair cut. I just don't. It's sort of stupid. It takes like 30 seconds to shave my head. And so I started looking at what they got, what they use. And they use this stuff, this shaver called Kamai. And I was like, okay, so I asked the guy, which one do I get? He goes, don't buy the one for like 500 baht. He goes, you need to get the special one. It's like upgrade. And so I started looking around for like 1,500 to about 2,500. They have like these really, really nice shavers. And I don't know, probably I'll buy one in the next couple of days. But then you just, it's done. And the shaver that I have now is a Remington. And I have to go over my hair like 3 times. I have my son cutting my hair, and he's just going over it and over it. And I'm like, son of a bitch. These guys at the barber shop, they just zip it right off, and it comes right off.
I pay 80 baht now for a haircut,
Yeah.
and
It's 100 baht here is the cheapest.
and he does a haircut.
Yeah,
The whole thing.
that's what they used to do.
Yeah, obviously I haven't been there for a while, but he
They used to do that for me, but it used to be 50 baht, then it went up to 70, then it went up to 80, and now the cheapest is 100. Most places are at least 120, and they go up to,
this guy
1,000 baht.
he's been cutting hair since my wife's son was a baby, and he like gave him his first. So he's been the same spot 30 something years. I go in there though and trying to explain how I want my haircut when you don't really speak haircut language, and I tell him, police officer. Oh, okay.
Oh, God.
Short on this. He gives me the cop cut.
I always tell them, take it all off. That's it. Let Lily get rid of it all. And so they never have any problem with me. And sometimes they'll go, do you want to shave? And I'll just go, yeah. And they shave it, but then, I still need to use the razor.
It's not. Sometimes I get a good one. Sometimes
I don't mind that, because, I usually shave. I mean, I have a safety, razor, and I put the blades in, and I use the brush. John will turn me on to all that. And, it's very cheap. It's, you don't have any, I got plenty of soaps and all that other stuff, and so I don't care about the shaving. That's really easy, but
No,
the haircut, I don't want to go in, and every time I go in, I'm spending like 250 baht. When I know the shaver, well, I can trim it, and in a couple of cuts, I save my money, so.
And my barber, the reason I went to him, not only because my wife's son was there, but his barber pole is red and white stripes, and then he's got a blue up top with a bunch of stars on it. It's the American flag. It's like, oh, man, he must speak English. He's got an American flag for a barber.
And that's
pole.
80 baht?
80 baht.
Yeah.
And he, originally, my first haircut in Thailand, I spent 200 baht for it.
Yes.
And it was this smoking hot girl, and she did all this stuff, and it was like, and I thought that was a bargain. And my friend said, "You're paying 200 baht for that?"
No, listen, I talked to Jono and I talked to Billy, and they're all like, "Oh, you can't get a good haircut for 100 baht." I'm like, "Yes, you can. You can get a good haircut. You guys may not be because you're going to places that they're not going to give you a good haircut. I don't know why.
Don't go in the mall for a haircut or something like that.
They have
you
places
need to find
here, and they're expensive.
The guy that's been there for years.
Yeah, where I go, sometimes I go, sometimes I do it myself. Where I go, there's a guy there. He's been there, and he did my kids' haircuts when they were little kids. So he remembers us.
You can look at this either way. Walking down the street, and the sidewalk's blocked with a bunch of crap. They're selling stuff, or there's a big gap in the curb, or something.
Yeah, that's a Jono. That's a Jono kind of complaint because he wrenched his knee because the sidewalk is so uneven that he's walking along and he's not watching what he's doing, and boom, he trips. That's it.
Yeah, kids riding the motorbike on the
That's what happened to my ankle.
I can live with that, although I can point that out as a negative.
Yeah, I think that's. But I think like for me, your negatives are pretty much the same. I don't really have problems with my products. If I want a certain product, I just get it from Amazon, or I have it shipped from the company, or whatever it is.
Do you pay a premium for shipping from Amazon?
Yeah, it depends on what I'm getting and how many I order.
Because I've looked at stuff on Amazon.
Yeah, you may have to pay.
The shipping is more than the friggin' item.
It depends. If it's under $50, then the shipping is not, and the shipping and customs is not usually more because they don't charge duties on anything under 50 bucks. But what I'll do is if I'm ordering 3 of something and it's like $48, it's like 48 bucks plus $12 for shipping. I'm like, okay, that works out to a decent price.
I bought a t-shirt through Amazon or through some site in America, and it ended up the shipping and all that was more than the cost of the t-shirt.
Yeah. Well, if you buy one, that's what happens.
And I can't find my Farang Lives Matter t-shirt. I don't know, my wife hid it on me.
I think I have another one. I should send it to you or whatever, but I think I have them online available. I don't know. Maybe I don't. Maybe it's just the Bar Girl Lives Matter I have on there. But I do have, just so everybody knows, I do have, if you look below the window, the video window, there should be all kinds of stuff on sale. But if I don't have the Farang Lives Matter up, I just saw the artwork yesterday because I was looking through all my hard drives because I'm running out of room on my I have like 10 hard drives and like 2 of them aren't good. 5 of them are full. I don't have any space.
Another thing, don't buy a hard drive through Lazada.
No, I buy them right here.
I buy mine at a legitimate computer store now.
Yeah. I mean, I bought one here and there was a problem, and immediately they said, okay, no problem. They took it back. They gave me another one, and I was like, okay. But I probably bought 20 of them over the years, and the best one I have is the lacy with it's got the rubber on the outside, and what it does is it automatically backs up it's 4 terabytes, 2 terabytes. It's split into 2 sections, 2 terabytes, 2 terabytes, and the one section backs up the other. So no matter what, you're not going to lose the whole thing. That's the best one I have, and I want to get another, but I'm just too damn cheap, and I don't really want to go and get one because I'm always looking to like delete things and move things around. Then I go, oh, I got plenty of room on this one, So anyway, wow, that was a very quick stream. An hour and a half has flown by with Chaiyaphum Jim, Loong Jim, also known as Loong Jim, Uncle Jim.
Parang Banok. That's
Banok.
my YouTube page. Loong Jim, Parang Banok.
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 Banok. Yes. Means farang in the countryside,
Redneck,
in the village. Yes.
If you guys in North America ever watch Red Green,
What is it?
Red Green, the Red Green show, I think it's out of Canada. Red
Never heard
Green
of
is the North American Banok.
Okay. I don't know about that. I don't know. I mean, I come from down as south as you can get in Florida.
It means you're using duct tape to fix everything, pretty much.
Well, that might be me. If you saw my hard drive that I have that plugs into my computer, I have a duct tape wrapped around it so that it doesn't
I need
bend.
to do that with my phone charger, but I got 6 phone charging cords. But
All right, well, listen. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, for joining myself and Chaiyaphum Jim, Loong Jim. Thank you. I
everybody in
appreciate it.
Chaiyaphum knows me. If you say Loong Jim at Warp Zone or any major restaurant there, oh, you know Loong Jim? Okay.
He's a big fish in a little pond.
Exactly, like when I lived in Fresno, but Fresno was a shithole. and
Well,
Chaiyaphum's not.
it's been very pleasurable talking with you, and
Likewise.
this has been a little more fun stream simply because I'm interacting with someone else here, which is nice. But thank you everybody for joining me. I appreciate it. It's time to go. We got to get out of here. So for myself and Loong Jim, Choke Leo Jerkan Mai, I'm Scott. I'm an American in Bangkok, and this is Loong Jim, an American in Chaiyaphum. And until next time, whenever that is, I don't know when it is, Friday, Sunday, whenever, I'm not sure yet, but I will talk to you all later. Okay? See ya.